Hyunwoo Kim stood at the viewing port of the transport ship and watched the massive structure grow larger as they approached. The Alpha Centauri station stretched across space like a metal city, its countless lights blinking in patterns he could not understand. After 3 months of travel from Earth, this moment felt both real and impossible at the same time. "First time seeing something this big?" asked So-Young Park as she joined him at the window. The linguist carried a tablet filled with translation, programs that Earth's best scientists had spent years creating. Her job was to help humanity talk to aliens, though nobody really knew what to expect. "Nothing like this exists near Earth," Hyunwoo replied. As humanity's chosen ambassador, he had studied every piece of information about alien contact protocols that Earth possessed, which was almost nothing. The Galactic Council had sent them coordinates and basic docking instructions, but little else. Taemin Lee approached from behind them, his military uniform neat despite the long journey. "The crew says we dock in 20 minutes, he said. "Are you ready for this?" Hyunwoo nodded, though his stomach felt tight with nervousness. 3 humans were about to represent all of Earth to beings they had never seen before. The weight of that responsibility felt heavier than the artificial gravity on their ship. The docking process happened smoothly, with mechanical arms guiding their small craft into a bay designed for ships much larger than theirs. When the airlock opened, they stepped into a corridor filled with breathable air that smelled faintly of metal and something sweet they could not identify. A being waited for them that looked nothing like the movies back on Earth had imagined. It stood on 4 legs like a horse but had arms ending in delicate fingers. Its head resembled a bird's butt with large eyes that showed intelligence. When it spoke, a small device on its chest translated the words into perfect English. "Welcome to Alpha Centauri Station," the being said. "I am Guide Pel-Shan, assigned to escort new species through first contact procedures. Please follow me to the registration chamber." They walked through corridors wide enough for creatures much larger than humans. The walls showed moving pictures of different worlds, some with blue skies like Earth, others with colors that hurt to look at. So-Young tried to record everything on her tablet while Taemin kept watch for anything that might be dangerous. Theo. Registration chamber was enormous, with a ceiling so high it disappeared into shadows. Dozens of different beings moved around the space, some flying, others crawling, a few that seemed to be made of living crystal. The variety was overwhelming. "Your species will be processed according to standard first contact protocols," Pel-Shan explained as they approached a desk that adjusted its height to match Hyunwoo's. "First, we require basic information about your world for the Universal Registry." A new being appeared behind the desk, this one resembling a tree with eyes scattered across its bark-like skin. "I am Registration Officer Thelmos," it said through its translator. "Please provide your world's coordinates and any local designation." Hyunwoo gave Earth's location in the galaxy and explained that humans called their planet Earth. Thelmos entered this information into a device that projected symbols in the air above the desk. "Processing complete," Thelmos announced. "You will now be escorted to meet the Council for formal introduction. This is an honor granted to all new member species." They followed Pel-Shan through more corridors until they reached a circular chamber with 12 elevated platforms arranged around the edges. On each platform sat a different type of being, more alien than anything they had seen so far. Some were so strange that Hyunwoo could not tell which end was the head. "Humans of the world called Earth," announced a being that seemed to be made of flowing water held in a transparent container. "I am Council Leader Zephys. We welcome you to the galactic community." Hyunwoo stepped forward and gave a small bow, as they had practiced. "Thank you for this opportunity," he said. "Humanity hopes to learn from you and contribute to galactic peace. Standard procedures require that we register your world in our archives," said another council member, this one resembling a massive insect with wings that shimmered like oil. "Archivist Veltar will handle this task." The being called Veltar looked like living crystal, its body catching and reflecting light in beautiful patterns. It moved to a control panel and began entering data. The air above the panel filled with symbols and images. "Coordinates confirmed," Veltar announced. "Cross-referencing with historical databases." the crystal being paused as new information appeared. Searching ancient records for any previous contact or reference. The chamber filled with soft humming sounds as various alien devices processed the information. So Young watched the display with fascination, trying to understand the symbols that flowed past like water. "Search complete," Veltar said, but something in its tone had changed. The crystal body had stopped reflecting light and now appeared dark and still. "What is the planetary designation?" asked Zephys. Veltar did not answer immediately. It seemed to be checking the results again, its crystal form flickering as if uncertain. "The planetary designation according to the ancient archives is—" Veltar paused again. "Kethmoran." The effect was immediate and shocking. Every being in the chamber stopped moving. The constant background noise of alien conversations cut off as if someone had thrown a switch. Even the air circulation systems seemed to quiet. So Young looked at her tablet as the translation program worked. "Deathworld of endless storms," she whispered to Hyunwoo. "I believe there has been an error," Hyunwoo said, stepping forward. "Our planet is called Earth. It has weather and storms, yes, but it is not a death world." "No error," Veltar replied, its voice now barely audible. "The coordinates match perfectly. Your world is listed in the most ancient records as Kethmoran, birthplace of the—" "Enough!" Zephys interrupted sharply. "This session is suspended pending further investigation." "What investigation?" Taemin asked, his military training making him suspicious of the sudden change in mood. "What is wrong with our planet being in your old records?" "Nothing is wrong," said Council Leader Zephys, but the water being's movements seemed agitated. "We simply need to verify this information through proper channels. The archive dates are over 50,000 years old," Veltar added quietly, as if speaking to itself. "But the coordinates are exact." Hyunwoo felt the mood in the chamber shift from welcoming to something else entirely. The aliens who had been friendly now seemed nervous, even frightened. Some were already leaving their platforms. "We request permission to contact our homeworld," Hyunwoo said formally. "If there is some problem with Earth's designation, our government should be informed." "That will not be necessary at this time," Zephys replied quickly. "You will be provided with guest quarters while we conduct our review. This is standard procedure for unusual circumstances." Pelshan appeared beside them again, moving faster than before. "Please follow me to your accommodations," the guide said. "The council will contact you when the review is complete." As they left the chamber, So Young heard whispered conversations in alien languages that her tablet could not translate. The tone was unmistakable, though. Fear. "What did we just walk into?" Taemin asked quietly as they followed Pelshan through empty corridors. "I do not know," Hyunwoo replied, "but something about Earth being in their old records has scared them badly. Their quarters were comfortable, but clearly designed to keep them in one place. The doors could be opened from inside, but required special access from outside. Food appeared through a wall slot at regular intervals, perfectly suited to human needs but bland and unfamiliar. So Young spent hours trying to crack the station's communication systems, while Taemin looked for security weaknesses. Hyunwoo stood at the single window and watched alien ships coming and going, wondering if any of them were heading toward Earth. "I found something," So Young announced on their second day of confinement. "There are encrypted communications flying all over this station. More than normal according to the traffic patterns I can detect." "Can you read any of it?" asked Taemin. "Not yet, but I am learning. The encryption is old, which is strange for emergency communications. It is like they are using a language they do not want anyone else to understand." 3 days passed with no word from the council. Their requests for updates were met with polite delays and promises that the review would be completed soon. But the activity outside their window told a different story. Ships arrived daily now, larger than any they had seen before, bearing symbols that even So Young's extensive databases could not identify. The station itself seemed to be preparing for something, with new construction happening at a pace that suggested urgency. "We need to find out what is happening," Hyunwoo decided. "Earth deserves to know if there is some kind of threat." "I agree," said Taemin, "but we are locked in here with no communication and no allies." "Maybe we have allies," So Young said thoughtfully. Not everyone on this station belongs to the Council. There might be other new species, or ones who do not agree, with keeping us isolated. That night, they put their plan into action. The maintenance tunnel was barely wide enough for a human to crawl through, but Tae-min had found the access panel hidden behind their quarters wall display. So-young followed behind him, her tablet providing the only light in the narrow space, while Hyun-woo stayed behind to maintain the illusion that all three humans were still in their room. The communications center should be 2 levels down, So-young whispered, reading the station blueprints she had managed to download before their isolation began. If I can access their main systems, I might be able to send a message to Earth. They crawled for what felt like hours through passages designed for repair robots, not living beings. Strange sounds echoed through the walls around them. Alien conversations, mechanical humming, and occasionally something that sounded almost like music. The station was alive with activity even during its night cycle. When they finally reached the communication center, Tae-min carefully removed the access panel and peered into the room beyond. It was empty except for rows of glowing equipment, and displays showing data streams in dozens of different alien languages. "Clear," he whispered, helping So-young through the opening. She moved quickly to the nearest terminal and connected her tablet. Her fingers flew across the interface as she tried to break through the security systems. "This is more complex than I expected," she muttered. "They have multiple layers of protection." "How long do you need?" Tae-min asked, keeping watch at the room's main entrance. 10 minutes minimum, maybe 20. So-young's face was lit by the alien symbols flowing across her screen. "Wait, I think I found something. These are not just communication logs. There are archived recordings of council sessions. Can you access them?" "Working on it." Her tablet beeped softly as barriers fell one by one. "Got it. The timestamp shows this was recorded right after we left the council chamber." The recording began with council leader Zephys addressing the other members. The translation came through clearly on So-young's tablet. "The situation is far worse than we initially believed. The planet designation Kethamaran appears in the Chronicle of Forbidden Worlds." Another voice, which So-young recognized as the insect-like council member, responded, "The Chronicle has not been accessed in 12,000 years. Why would a new species' homeworld be listed there?" "Because," said Veltar's crystal voice, "it is not just listed as a forbidden world. According to the ancient records, Kethmaran was the original spawning ground of the Void Hunters." The silence that followed was so complete that So-young thought the recording had stopped. Then Zephys spoke again, voice trembling. "That is impossible. The Void Hunters are mythology. They never existed." "The coordinates match exactly," Veltar insisted. "Every detail in the ancient descriptions corresponds to the planet these humans call Earth. Gravity, 1.2 times galactic standard. Oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere with trace gases. Massive weather systems. Tectonically active surface. And most importantly, located in what the records call the Forgotten Spiral Arm, exactly where this Earth sits." "Even if the planet matches," said a new voice So-young did not recognize, "these humans show none of the characteristics of the legendary Void Hunters. They are small, weak, clearly not adapted for survival in hostile environments." "Are they not?" Veltar asked. "They come from a world where the weather can kill them, where most of the planet's surface is covered by toxic liquid, where countless predators hunt them, where the very ground beneath their feet moves and shakes. Yet they not only survived, they conquered their entire world." So-young grabbed Tae-min's arm. "Did you hear that? They think we are descendants of something called Void Hunters." "What are Void Hunters?" Tae-min whispered back. "Shh, listen." The recording continued with Zephys speaking. "If these humans are truly descended from the Void Hunters, then we face a crisis that could destroy galactic civilization. The ancient records speak of beings so adaptable, so relentlessly persistent, that 3 entire galactic powers united to drive them into exile. The records also say they chose exile," added another voice. "They could have conquered the galaxy, but instead sought out the most hostile world they could find to test themselves further." "Which makes them even more dangerous," Zephys replied. "The Void Hunters were never conquerors in the traditional sense. They were evolution given form, constantly adapting, constantly growing stronger. Every challenge made them more capable. But that was 50,000 years ago, protested the unidentified voice. Even if these humans are their descendants, surely they have grown weak during such a long isolation? Have they? Veltar asked. In 50,000 years on that death world, what have they become? The humans who came here traveled between stars, built artificial intelligences, created weapons that could level cities, and they did it all while fighting for survival on a planet that should have killed them long ago. The recording ended abruptly. So Young stared at her tablet, mind racing. Taemin, we need to warn Earth immediately. Warn them about what? About what is coming. She quickly accessed the current communication logs. Look at these traffic patterns. 7 different fleets are moving toward Earth's solar system. The Council is not just scared of us. They are preparing to do something about it. Meanwhile, on Earth's Luna base, Jin-A Cho was having trouble sleeping. The research station's night shift was usually quiet, with only essential systems running and most of the crew resting. But the Deep Space Monitoring Array had been detecting unusual signals for the past 2 days. Wu Jin, she called to her research partner as he entered the observation deck with 2 cups of coffee. Have you seen these readings? Wu Jin Nam set down the cups and looked at the displays. Those energy signatures are massive. What could generate that much power? I have been asking myself the same question. Jin-I pointed to the data streams. The patterns suggest multiple large objects moving at high speed toward our solar system. Very high speed. How high? If my calculations are correct, faster than anything we have ever built or imagined possible. Wu Jin felt his stomach drop. How long until they reach us? At their current velocity, approximately 6 days. 6 days. Wu Jin reached for the communication panel. I am calling Earth Command immediately. Wait, Jinny said, grabbing his arm. Look at this new data. I think there are more than we initially detected. The display updated with fresh information from the Deep Space Array. Instead of 3 or 4 large objects, the screen now showed 7 distinct energy signatures, each one accompanied by smaller objects arranged in what looked disturbingly like military formations. That is a fleet, Wu Jin said quietly. 7 fleets. All heading directly for Earth, Jinny confirmed. On Earth, Defense Coordinator Dong-Hyun Yu was awakened by his emergency communicator at 300 hours. The call came from Luna Base, and the voice on the other end was Jin-I Cho, speaking so quickly he could barely understand her. Slow down, Jin-I, he said, sitting up in bed. What kind of signatures? Multiple fleets, sir. 7 different groups, each with energy outputs that dwarf anything in our defense database. They will reach Earth's orbit in less than a week. Dong-Hyun was fully awake now. Are you certain these are not natural phenomena? Completely certain, sir. The formations are clearly artificial, and they are changing course to compensate for our orbital movement. They are definitely targeting Earth. I will be at Command Center in 20 minutes. Continue monitoring and prepare a full report. As Dong-Hyun dressed quickly, his mind raced through possibilities. Humanity had sent 3 ambassadors to make contact with alien civilization, and now alien fleets were approaching Earth. The timing could not be coincidental. At Defense Command, Dong-Hyun found a room full of activity despite the early hour. Admiral Ki-Young-ro was already there, studying display screens filled with data from Luna Base and Earth's orbital sensors. What is the situation? Dong-Hyun asked. Confirmed alien approach, Ki-Young replied grimly. 7 fleets, different configurations, all arriving within hours of each other. This was coordinated. Our defensive capabilities? Against 1 fleet, possibly. Against 7. Ki-Young shook his head. We would need a miracle. Or very good diplomacy, Dong-Hyun said. Any word from our ambassadors? Nothing since their initial arrival at the alien station. Communication has been completely cut off. Then we prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Dong-Hyun moved to the main display. I want every available ship moved to defensive positions. Start evacuating major population centers to underground shelters. And get me a direct line to every world leader. Sir, interrupted a communications officer, we are receiving a transmission from Luna Base. Priority urgent. Put it through. Jin-A's voice filled the room. Earth Command, we have a problem. The alien fleets are not just approaching. They are deploying into siege formations around our solar system. Whatever they are planning, they do not want anything to leave or enter this system. Back on Alpha Centauri Station, So Young had successfully broken into the station's main communication array. Her hands shook as she entered Earth's communication codes. "This is Ambassador Kim's party calling Earth Defense Command," she transmitted. "Priority Alpha emergency. Respond immediately." The A reply came faster than she expected. "So Young, this is Dong-Hyun Yu. Thank all gods you are alive." The guards that burst into the communications center were unlike any beings the humans had seen before. They moved with mechanical precision and carried weapons that hummed with contained energy. But what shocked Tae-min most was their obvious fear as they approached two unarmed humans. "You will return to your quarters immediately," commanded the lead guard, a creature that looked like living metal shaped into a roughly humanoid form. "Your unauthorized access to station systems has been reported to the Council." So Young quickly disconnected her tablet and followed Tae-min toward the exit. But she had managed to download something crucial during those final seconds: the complete archive of ancient records about the Void Hunters. When they returned to their quarters, Hyun-woo was waiting with news of his own. "3 more council members came to speak with me while you were gone," he said quietly. "They asked very strange questions about human biology and behavior." "What kind of questions?" Tae-min asked. "How long humans can survive without food or water, whether we can adapt to different atmospheric conditions, how we respond to extreme stress." Hyun-woo paused. "And whether we form pack bonds with other species." So Young looked up from her tablet where she was reviewing the downloaded files. "That last question is important. According to these records, the Void Hunters' most feared ability was not their individual strength, but their capacity to turn other species into allies or even weapons." "Weapons?" Tae-min asked. "The records describe how Void Hunters could bond with local fauna and turn them into hunting partners. They mention entire worlds where the native species fought alongside the Void Hunters against galactic forces." So Young scrolled through more data. "But it gets worse. They also formed alliances with other intelligent species, sharing their adaptation techniques and creating hybrid cultures that were even more dangerous than pure Void Hunter societies." "That sounds like normal diplomacy to me," Hyun-woo said. "Not to them. Look at this passage. The Void Hunters possess an unnatural ability to identify the core motivations of any sentient being and exploit those motivations to create unbreakable loyalty. Species that have never cooperated with outsiders will die. For Void Hunters within cycles of first contact." Tae-min sat down heavily. "They think we are going to turn their entire galaxy against them. But they also think we might not be the real thing." So Young continued reading. "There are multiple references to tests that can determine if a species has the true Void Hunter heritage or if they are merely descended from refugees who fled before the ancient exile." "What kind of tests?" "Survival trials, combat scenarios, adaptation challenges." So Young's face went pale. "And something called the confirmation of intent, which seems to involve exposing the test subjects to impossible survival situations to see if they respond with Void Hunter instincts." Meanwhile, on Earth, the situation was developing rapidly. The 7 alien fleets had indeed taken positions throughout the solar system, but their arrangement was puzzling military analysts worldwide. Instead of preparing for invasion, they seemed to be establishing observation posts. Admiral Ki Young-ro stood in Earth Defense Command studying the tactical displays with growing confusion. "Their positioning makes no sense for an attack," she told Dong-Hyun Yu. "They have superior numbers and technology, but they are staying at maximum range." "What are they waiting for?" asked Defense Minister Sun Hee-jang, who had arrived from the capital an hour earlier. "Unknown, but I think they are waiting for something specific," Ki Young replied. "Each fleet represents a different alien species according to our analysis of their ship designs. This looks more like a tribunal than an invasion force." On Lunabase, Jin-A Cho and Woo Jin-nam had made a disturbing discovery while analyzing the alien formations. "They are not just observing," Jin-A announced over the communication link to Earth Command. "They are conducting some kind of environmental manipulation." "Explain," Dong-hyun said. We are detecting energy beams directed at Earth's atmosphere, oceans, and tectonic plates. Very low power, but precisely targeted. It appears they are making small changes to Earth's environment. What kind of changes? Woo Jin answered. Increasing storm activity in the Pacific, triggering small seismic events along fault lines, introducing trace chemicals into the atmosphere that are altering local weather patterns. They are testing our planet's response systems, Jin'e added, but more importantly, they seem to be testing how humans respond to those changes. Are people being hurt? Sun-hee asked urgently. Not directly, but emergency services worldwide are reporting unusual patterns. Citizens in affected areas are not panicking or evacuating as expected. Instead, they are adapting. Coastal communities are implementing flood defenses faster than should be possible. People in seismic zones are modifying buildings and infrastructure in real time. It is as if humans instinctively know how to respond to threats they have never encountered before. Back on Alpha Centauri Station, the situation for the human ambassadors was becoming more complicated. Council leader Zephys had called them to another meeting, but this time, the chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of species, many of whom the humans had never seen before. Humans of Earth, Zephys announced, you have been brought before this expanded assembly to address questions regarding your species' heritage and intentions. We are happy to answer any questions, Hyun-woo replied diplomatically, but we would appreciate knowing why our planet is under apparent siege by your fleets. The fleets are not there to attack, said a new voice. The speaker was a being that seemed to be made of crystallized light, shifting between different colors as it spoke. They are there to conduct the trials of confirmation. We were not told about any trials, Taemin said, his military training making him suspicious. Because, Veltar interrupted, the trials must be conducted without the subject's knowledge to ensure accurate results. The ancient protocols are very specific about this requirement. So, Young stepped forward. We have learned about your ancient records regarding the Void Hunters. We understand your concern, but humanity has developed beyond whatever our ancestors might have been. Have you? Asked another council member, this one resembling a massive tree with glowing fruit hanging from its branches. Your species conquered an entire world that should have killed you. You developed space travel while fighting constant environmental disasters. You created artificial intelligences and weapons of mass destruction while struggling simply to survive. Your planet's weather. Those achievements show human resilience and ingenuity, Hyun-woo said. They show Void Hunter characteristics, Veltar corrected. Relentless adaptation, refusal to accept defeat, the ability to turn any challenge into an advantage. But the most concerning trait, added Zephys, is your species' apparent ability to form alliance bonds with other intelligent life forms. Within hours of arriving at this station, you had identified sympathetic individuals among the staff and began recruiting them to your cause. We simply asked for help with translation and cultural guidance, So Young protested. Yet 3 different station personnel have already offered to assist you in ways that violate station protocols. 2 have requested transfers to Earth's solar system. 1 has volunteered to serve as a permanent human liaison, despite having never worked with non-aquatic species before. Taemin realized the aliens were right. Humans did seem to have an unusual ability to make allies quickly. Even now, he could see several beings in the assembly watching the humans with obvious sympathy, rather than fear. The preliminary trials on your homeworld have yielded disturbing results, continued the tree-like being. Humans in the affected areas are not merely surviving the environmental changes, they are thriving. Adaptation rates exceed all theoretical models. What kind of adaptation? Hyun-woo asked. Hyun-woo. Communities exposed to enhanced storm systems have developed new architectural techniques that redirect wind and water flow to their advantage. Populations experiencing seismic activity have created warning networks that seem to predict earthquakes before our instruments detect them. Most significantly, humans exposed to atmospheric changes have begun developing improved lung capacity and blood chemistry within days. That is impossible, So Young said. Human biology does not work that way. Void Hunter biology does, Veltar replied quietly. According to the ancient records, Void hunters could adapt to environmental changes in real time, passing those adaptations to their offspring immediately. It was their most terrifying capability. "The final confirmation trials are about to begin," Zephys announced. "Your planet's population will be exposed to 3 ultimate challenges over the next 72 hours. If humanity responds as true..." "Void hunters, the galaxy will face a decision that could change everything." "What kind of challenges?" Taemin demanded. "Survival scenarios that no known species has ever overcome," answered the crystalline light being. "If humans fail, they will be classified as an extinct Void Hunter offshoot and granted full membership in galactic civilization. If we succeed, what happens? Then the galaxy will have to decide whether to accept the return of the Void Hunters or attempt to destroy Earth before humanity can spread beyond their solar system." "You would commit genocide based on ancient fears?" Hyunwoo asked, horrified. The final trials began at dawn Earth time, though the alien fleets had been preparing for hours before the first challenge commenced. Admiral Ki Young-ro watched the tactical displays with growing dread as energy signatures spiked throughout the solar system. "All ships report ready status," she announced to the assembled defense coordinators. "Though I doubt our readiness will matter much against what they are planning." Defense Minister Sun Hee-jang stood beside her, studying the patterns of alien activity. "The environmental manipulations have stopped," she observed. "Whatever they were testing for, they seem to have found their answers." "The question is whether humanity passed or failed," said Dong-hyun Yu grimly. "Their answer came at 800 hours when every communication device on Earth simultaneously received the same message in perfect, unaccented human languages. Citizens of Earth, you are about to participate in 3 trials that will determine your species' future relationship with galactic civilization. These trials are not optional and cannot be avoided. Your responses will be monitored and evaluated. Begin Trial 1, Survival. The first trial was unlike anything Earth's governments had prepared for. Instead of attacking with weapons or invading with armies, the alien fleets began systematically destroying Earth's infrastructure from orbit. Power grids failed across entire continents. Communication networks went dark. Transportation systems stopped functioning. But rather than causing global panic, something unexpected happened. Within hours, human communities began self-organizing into survival networks more efficient than the systems that had been destroyed. In Seoul, engineer Min-ho Lee found himself coordinating power restoration efforts for his entire district using nothing but hand-drawn diagrams and human messengers. "We do not need the central grid," he told his improvised team. "Every building with solar panels can become a local power station." In São Paulo, Dr. Anna Ree Kim organized a medical network that covered 12 city blocks using volunteers, bicycles, and medical supplies scavenged from abandoned facilities. "The hospitals are down, but we have knowledge and hands," she said. "That is enough." Similar scenes played out worldwide. Humans did not wait for government rescue or outside assistance. They immediately began adapting to the new conditions, creating solutions that worked better than the original systems. On Luna Base, Jin-A Cho watched the global response with amazement. "Look at these efficiency ratings," she told Woo Jin Nam. "Human productivity has actually increased since the infrastructure was destroyed. They are accomplishing more with primitive tools than they were with advanced technology." "How is that possible?" Woo Jin asked. "Reduced bureaucracy, direct communication, local decision-making. Every community is solving problems in real time, instead of waiting for approval from distant authorities. The aliens must be seeing this too." "That is what worries me," Jin-A replied. "If this is a test of Void Hunter characteristics, humanity is passing with extremely high marks." Meanwhile, on Alpha Centauri Station, the human ambassadors were being forced to watch the trials through the Council's monitoring systems. Hyunwoo felt his heart pound as he saw his own species responding to the crisis with capabilities he had never imagined they possessed. "Your people adapt remarkably quickly," observed Veltar, though the crystal being's tone suggested this was not a compliment. "They are just doing what humans have always done," So Young replied. "When things break, we fix them." "But notice how they fix them," said Council Leader Zephys. "They do not simply restore the original systems. They improve them, Every solution creates new capabilities that exceed what existed before. Taman watched a display showing a rural community that had organized itself into a perfect defensive formation while simultaneously establishing agricultural protocols that would increase food production by 30%. They are not just surviving, he realized. They are thriving. Exactly, said Zephys. Classic Void Hunter response pattern. Turn every challenge into an opportunity for advancement. The second trial began 12 hours later without warning. The alien fleets launched what appeared to be a coordinated military assault on Earth's major population centers. Kinetic bombardment from orbit, atmospheric fighters, and ground-based combat units that materialized from nowhere and everywhere at once. But again, humanity's response defied all predictions. Instead of military resistance, humans began something that resembled organized chaos. Civilians transformed into guerrilla networks faster than professional armies could react. Urban environments became traps for the alien forces as humans demonstrated an intimate knowledge of every building, tunnel, and hiding place in their territory. Admiral Ki Young-ro found herself commanding not just Earth's official military forces, but coordinating with thousands of improvised militias that had spontaneously formed during the first trial. We have reports of alien ground units being systematically isolated and captured across 6 continents, she announced to Defense Command. Captured? Asked Sun-hee. How are civilians capturing advanced alien technology? By treating the aliens like any other predator in their environment, Kai Young replied. Humans are persistence hunters. They do not try to match the aliens' strength. They exhaust them through constant harassment until the aliens make mistakes. The civilian networks are sharing tactical information faster than our military communications can process it, added Dong-hyun. A successful technique developed in one city is being implemented globally within hours. Through what communication system? Sun-hee asked. Their technology destroyed our networks. Human networks, Ki-young answered. Runners, signal fires, improvised radio systems, even coded messages hidden in refugee movements. They have created a communication grid that is completely invisible to alien detection systems because it uses methods the aliens consider too primitive to monitor. The most shocking development came from the alien ground forces themselves. After 18 hours of combat, the alien commanders began requesting withdrawal authorization from their fleets. The humans were not just defeating them, they were converting them. We have confirmed reports of alien soldiers laying down weapons and requesting asylum, announced a communications officer. They claim human civilians have been treating captured aliens with medical care and offering to share food and shelter. They are turning the invasion into a recruitment opportunity, Sun-hee said in disbelief. On Alpha Centauri Station, the council was in emergency session as the trial results exceeded all projections. Human combat effectiveness is actually increasing as the trials continue, reported the military observer, a being that resembled a floating brain surrounded by mechanical appendages. But more disturbing is their effect on our own forces. Explain, demanded Zephys. 3 entire ground units have declared neutrality and requested permission to remain on Earth as observers rather than continue the assault. 2 orbital squadrons have diverted from their attack patterns to provide medical assistance to human communities that were damaged in the initial bombardment. This is exactly what the ancient records warned about, Veltar said quietly. Void hunters do not defeat enemies. They convert them into allies. Hyunwoo felt a chill of understanding. You are not testing whether humans are dangerous to you, he said. You are testing whether we are dangerous to ourselves. What do you mean? So Young asked. Think about it. If humans can turn alien attackers into allies within hours, what happens when we meet other species peacefully? How long before every species in the galaxy becomes dependent on human problem-solving abilities? The third trial will answer that question, Zephys announced. The final trial was the most complex yet. Instead of attacking Earth directly, the alien fleets began broadcasting a continuous stream of requests for assistance. They claimed to represent dozens of different species facing various crises throughout the galaxy: environmental disasters, technological failures, social conflicts, resource shortages. Every request was accompanied by detailed technical specifications, cultural information, and offers of payment or technology exchange. To any outside observer, it looked like the galaxy was genuinely asking Earth for help solving its problems. This is obviously a trap, Taemin said as they watched human governments and civilian organizations responding to the requests with enthusiasm. Of course it is a trap, replied Hyunwoo, but look how humans are reacting. Instead of ignoring the requests or treating them with suspicion, human communities were competing to provide the best solutions. Universities were developing new technologies overnight. Engineering firms were creating designs for problems they had never encountered. Artists and philosophers were offering cultural innovations to help alien societies resolve conflicts. They cannot help themselves, observed So Young with growing horror. Humans see problems and immediately want to solve them, even when they know it might be dangerous. On Earth, the response was indeed unprecedented. Every major government had established alien assistance departments within hours of receiving the first requests. Civilian organizations were volunteering resources for projects that would benefit species they had never met. Children in schools were creating artwork to help alien civilizations explore concepts like hope and creativity. The silence in the council chamber stretched for long minutes as representatives from 12 species processed the unprecedented proposal. Humanity was offering to share the very capabilities that made them so dangerous, transforming potential galactic subjugation into voluntary mutual advancement. This has never been attempted, Council Leader Zephys said finally. The risks are incalculable. The risks of not trying are even greater. Hyunwoo replied calmly. You have three choices. Destroy us and lose everything we could contribute to galactic civilization. Exile us and watch us grow stronger in isolation until we return as an unstoppable force. Or work with us to create something better than what any species has achieved alone. Veltar's crystal form flickered with rapid calculations. The mathematical models for species interaction do not account for deliberate capability sharing. We would be entering completely unknown territory. Unknown territory is where humans do their best work, So Young said with a slight smile. But how can we trust that you will not simply dominate through superior problem-solving abilities? Asked the tree-like representative. Even with shared techniques, Void Hunter descendants would likely outperform other species. Because, Taemin answered, human nature includes something the original Void Hunters apparently lacked, the desire to see others succeed independently. Humans are not satisfied when others depend on us. We are satisfied when others no longer need us. You are willing to make yourselves obsolete? Asked the military observer skeptically. We are willing to make dependence obsolete, Hyunwoo clarified. There will always be new challenges, new problems to solve, new frontiers to explore. The goal is not to eliminate the need for problem solvers, but to create a galaxy full of capable problem solvers. Meanwhile, on Earth, the aftermath of the trials was revealing just how dramatically humanity had changed during those 72 hours. The improvised systems created during the first trial had proven so effective that many communities were refusing to reconnect to the old infrastructure. The defensive networks from the second trial had evolved into cooperative organizations that were solving local problems with unprecedented efficiency. The assistance programs from the third trial had sparked a wave of innovation that was transforming human technology at breathtaking speed. Admiral Ki Young-ro stood in the rebuilt Defense Command Center watching status reports from around the globe. We are seeing the emergence of a completely new type of human civilization, she reported to the assembled world leaders via quantum communication link. Decentralized, adaptive, and focused on collective problem-solving rather than resource competition. The psychological evaluation teams are reporting similar findings, added Defense Minister Sun-hee Jang. Humans who participated in the trials show increased cooperative behavior, enhanced creative thinking, and what psychologists are calling instinctive systems optimization. Are you saying the trials changed human nature? Asked President Chen from the Asian Federation. We are saying the trials revealed human nature, Sun-hee replied. The capabilities were always there, dormant in our genetic heritage. The crisis conditions simply activated them. The question now, said Prime Minister Williams from the European Alliance, is what we do with these capabilities. The aliens clearly see us as either a threat or an opportunity. On Luna Base, Jin-I Cho and Wu Jin Nam were analyzing the final data from the alien fleets when they made a discovery that changed everything. The trials were not just tests, Jin-A announced over the communication link to Earth. They were demonstrations. Explain, requested Dong Hyun-yu. "We have been monitoring alien communications throughout the trial period," Wu Jin said. "The 7 fleets were not just observing human responses. They were broadcasting those responses to their respective homeworlds in real time. Representatives from over 300 different species watched humans solve problems they could not solve, adapt to challenges they could not survive, and convert enemies into allies using techniques they could not understand," Jin-ai added. "The trials were not meant to judge humanity. They were meant to demonstrate human capabilities to the entire galaxy." "To what end?" asked Sun-hee. "Unknown, but the communication traffic suggests intense debate occurring on dozens of worlds. Some species are demanding immediate alliance with humanity. Others are calling for preventive military action. Most seem to be waiting for the Council's official decision. Back on Alpha Centauri Station, that decision was being complicated by developments none of the Council members had anticipated. The alien soldiers who had participated in the trial assaults were refusing to leave Earth orbit. More problematically, they were filing formal requests to have their homeworld governments open diplomatic relations with humanity immediately. Commander Thekalon of the 4th Assault Fleet reports that his troops have learned more about combat effectiveness in 3 days with humans than they learned in 30 years of conventional military training, announced the military observer. He is requesting permission to establish a permanent training exchange program. Admiral Zondir of the 7th Squadron states that human engineering solutions have improved her ship's efficiency by 60%, added another council member. She wants to invite human technical advisors to visit her homeworld. Most significantly, said Veltar, Dr. Mulvrin of the Medical Research Fleet claims that human medical techniques saved the lives of injured alien soldiers in ways that exceed our most advanced healing technologies. He is petitioning his government to grant humanity immediate membership in the Galactic Medical Alliance. They are doing exactly what we feared, Zephys said grimly, converting our own forces into advocates for human integration. Actually, said a new voice from the chamber entrance, they are doing something much more interesting than that. The speaker was a being the humans had never seen before, resembling a cloud of luminescent gas held together by invisible forces. When it spoke, the words seemed to come from everywhere at once. "I am Observer Quintal of the Transcendent Collective," the being continued. "We have been monitoring this situation from outside normal space-time and would like to offer a perspective that the Council may have overlooked. The Transcendents have not participated in galactic affairs for over 10,000 years, Zephys said with obvious surprise. "Why involve yourselves now?" "Because this situation represents an evolutionary inflection point that occurs perhaps once every million years," Quintal replied. "The humans are not simply exhibiting Void Hunter characteristics. They are exhibiting the next stage of galactic evolution." Explain. The original Void Hunters were supremely adapted individuals who could survive any challenge and solve any problem. But they worked primarily as individuals or small groups. These humans have maintained those adaptive capabilities while developing something new: the ability to scale those capabilities across entire populations through cultural transmission. Quintal moved closer to the human observers. "Watch what happens when humans teach their techniques to others. The students do not become dependent on the teachers. They become teachers themselves, often improving on the original methods. This creates exponential rather than linear advancement." "That is what we fear," said the military observer. "You should not fear it," Quintal replied. "You should embrace it. This is how species evolve beyond their current limitations. The humans are offering to make the entire galaxy more capable of surviving whatever challenges the universe presents. And if we refuse their offer, then you will face those challenges with your current capabilities while humanity faces them with continuously improving capabilities. The gap will grow until cooperation becomes impossible and conflict becomes inevitable." So Young leaned forward. "You are saying this is not really a choice between accepting or rejecting humanity. This is a choice between evolving with us or being left behind by us." "Precisely," Quintal confirmed. "The trials have proven that humans will continue to grow stronger regardless of galactic decisions. The question is whether that growth occurs in isolation or in partnership." Council leader Zephys seemed to age as the implications became clear. "If we choose partnership, we risk becoming dependent on human problem-solving abilities. If we choose isolation, we risk being overwhelmed by human advancement when they inevitably expand beyond their solar system. There is a third option, Hyunwoo said quietly. Choose to grow stronger ourselves. How? Asked Veltar. The same way humans did. By facing challenges that seem impossible and refusing to accept defeat. By turning every problem into an opportunity for advancement. By working together instead of competing against each other. You are suggesting that other species can develop Void Hunter characteristics? I am suggesting that Void Hunter characteristics are not genetic traits exclusive to one species, Hyunwoo replied. They are behavioral patterns that any intelligent species can learn if they choose to embrace challenge instead of avoiding it. The humans are offering to teach the galaxy how to become collectively stronger, Taemin added. Not by making everyone dependent on human solutions, but by teaching everyone to create their own solutions. And if some species prove incapable of learning these techniques? Asked the military observer.